Andrew Carnegie was a notable leader of industry during the late 1800s, a period of time known as the Gilded Age. Through his innovative business strategies and hard work, he was able to create a self-made fortune, becoming a captain of industry. Born in Scotland in 1835, he immigrated to America at the age of 12. Thereafter, he worked in factories. When he was 18 years old, he came to work at the Pennsylvania Railroad Company, where he quickly rose through the ranks and became the superintendent in 1859 at just 24 years old. He invested his money into coal, oil, and iron, as well as other companies related to his company, such as the Keystone Bridge Company and the Pittsburgh Locomotive Works. Carnegie had finally transformed from a poor immigrant to a wealthy businessman. This led to him being able to avoid the Civil War draft by paying for someone to take his place and continued on with his work. After seeing the potential demand for steel, he decided to leave the railroad industry and manage the Keystone Bridge Company that he had invested in previously. With the influence of new Republican tariffs, he founded the J. Edgar Thomson Steel Works Company just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and would later rename it to the Carnegie Steel Company. Carnegie was quickly able to see his new business succeed, a feat that is partly due to his utilization of the Bessemer process. Starting in the 1850s, an Englishman named Henry Bessemer began creating the steel production process. William Kelly was also working on a similar process in the United States, and with the combination of both of their ideas, in which wind was blown through a molten iron which oxidized impurities and turned them into easily discarded slag, and prevented the iron from solidifying as a result of the heat of the other chemical reactions seen in steel production, steel was much easier to make. His use of the management technique referred to as vertical integration, where a business has control over every stage of the industrial process, from mining the raw materials to transporting the finished product, only increased his wealth. Carnegie soon became a millionaire, like many other industry leaders at the time. Some say that his massive success came out of the mistreatment of his workers. In 1892, protests from employees broke out at the Homestead, Pennsylvania plant after wages were lowered. These workers refused to do their jobs and ended up having violent clashes with the guards in charge of breaking up the protest. It is important, however, to note that at the time, Carnegie was away, but many still see this as a shortcoming during his time as the Steel King. After years in the industry, he finally retired to live with his wife and children, but soon became an active donor to poor communities. His generosity has funded many public institutions, such as the New York Public Library, Carnegie Hall, and Carnegie Mellon University, which all still stand to this day. He believed in the gospel of wealth, an idea that God singled him out to be wealthy, and because of this, it was his duty to spread that wealth for the betterment of all. This led to the concept of philanthropy becoming prevalent in American society, and it still continues to this day, with celebrities such as Bill Gates and the Clooneys donating their fortunes to causes they believe in. By the time he died in 1919 at the age of 84, Andrew Carnegie had donated 90% of his fortune. Carnegie was truly a man of innovation and had the American entrepreneurial spirit inside of him. He rose from an average, poor immigrant to a man with a legacy that has spanned 100 years after his death. His work, not only in the industrial development of this country, but to the social development, earns him the title of Captain of Industry, truly having influenced the course of the future in a positive direction.